Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something really interesting. How the government, specifically the GSA, the General Services Administration, is getting its arms around artificial intelligence.
Yeah, it's a big one. How they're using it, how they're planning to buy it.
Exactly. So our mission, really, for this deep dive is to understand how they're navigating this super fast-moving tech, both for their own use, internally, and also setting things up for other agencies to acquire it.
And we're digging into a Washington Technology article for this. Inside GSA's AI strategy, using the tech while learning how to buy it, gives us a good peek behind the curtain.
It does. And Larry Allen is a key name here. He's the GSA's Associate Administrator for Government-Wide Policy, and crucially, the Chief Acquisition Officer.
Right, he's been talking about this quite a bit, was on GovExec TV recently, apparently. His view is pretty central to understanding their direction.
Okay, so let's dive in. The article talks about this two-pronged approach GSA is taking. What does that actually mean on the ground?
Well, it's interesting because they're doing two things at once. Basically, they're learning how to use AI themselves, getting that hands-on experience,
Okay.
while also building the frameworks for how everyone else in government can buy AI. It's pretty ambitious, learning and setting policy simultaneously.
Right, learning by doing while also writing the rule book, kind of.
Exactly. The trick, I suppose, is making sure those two parts, the internal use and the buying guides, actually work together well.
And that internal use part, that involves something called GSAi, doesn't it? What is that exactly?
Yeah, GSA, it's an AI chatbot they've actually built in-house. They're calling it a force multiplier.
A force multiplier, meaning?
Meaning it helps their people do more, basically. Automating tasks, getting information faster. Think of it like an internal AI assistant for GSA staff.
Okay, and where are they using it right now? Which parts of GSA?
So far, it's mainly in the Federal Acquisition Service and the Public Building Service. It seems focused on digging up regulatory details quickly and automating some of that, time-consuming research.
The article had a good example, I think. Something about finding legal requirements.
Yes, that was a clear one. So imagine a contracting officer needs to know all the laws related to a specific purchase.
Okay.
Instead of digging through tons of documents, they can just ask GSAi a prompt like, what are the statutory requirements for this type of acquisition? And bang, it pulls up a list of the relevant laws.
Wow, okay. That sounds like it could save, well, a lot of time. Days, maybe.
Potentially, yeah. Instead of hours or days of legal slogging, you get it much faster. And that time saved can then be used for, more strategic thinking.
Right, and it goes beyond just speed, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The article mentioned market research and even rewriting regulations.
Exactly. It speeds up market research significantly. And Larry Allen pointed out it helps with rewriting acquisition rules, too. That really granular work of checking every line and finding the specific law behind it. AI makes that much less painful.
That's actually pretty huge.
Yeah.
A real boost for efficiency. Are they looking at other internal uses, too? Maybe drafting contracts?
They are, yes. Exploring how AI might help write better statements of work for contracts, make them clearer, and also potentially using AI to help evaluate proposals that come in.
And this seems important. It's about assisting people, not replacing them, right?
Absolutely critical point. The human judgment, the contracting officer's expertise, that stays central. They make the final call on spending taxpayer money. AI is a tool to help them do that better, faster, maybe more accurately.
Okay, that makes sense for the internal side. So let's shift to the other prong, setting things up for the rest of the government to buy AI. What kind of buying models are emerging?
Well, Larry Allen mentioned two main models taking shape. First one is pretty familiar, a subscription-based service.
Like we see with cloud software. Monthly fee for access.
Exactly. Agencies pay a regular fee, get access to the AI capabilities. Simple enough.
And the second one.
The second is what they're calling a token-based model. Think more. Pay as you go.
Okay. Like an arcade game.
Huh. Yeah, that was Allen's analogy, actually. An AI arcade game. You buy tokens, and each token lets you perform a specific AI task or activity.
Interesting. So that might be better for an agency that only needs AI for specific, maybe infrequent tasks. They wouldn't need a full subscription.
That seems to be the idea, yeah. More flexibility depending on the need.
Now, buying this stuff, the article mentioned pricing is a bit of a headache, determining what's fair.
Yeah, that's a really big challenge right now. How do you figure out a reasonable price for AI solutions when the market is so new, both commercially and especially in government procurement?
Right. There aren't decades of price history like for I don't know, buying office chairs or standard IT gear.
Exactly. There are no real benchmarks yet. Plus, the tech itself is evolving so fast, the value of a solution today might be different tomorrow. So yeah, figuring out price reasonableness, as Alan put it, is currently a little tricky for contracting officers.
So it takes more work on their end for now.
It does. It should get easier as the market matures and we see more deals, more data points. But right now, yeah, it requires careful analysis.
It's interesting, this whole process kind of echoes how government adopted other big technologies, doesn't it? Like
Really?
computers way back, or more recently, the cloud.
It really does. There's often that initial reluctance. Agencies can be hesitant to be the very first to jump into something new and unproven.
Nobody wants to be the cautionary tale.
Right. But then look at cloud computing. A few agencies tried it, it worked, there were no major disasters.
The cloud didn't fall down, as Alan apparently joked.
Exactly. The cloud didn't come down with thunder and lightning. Once you get those early success stories, it builds confidence, and then adoption spreads much more widely.
So the thinking is, we'll probably see a similar curve with AI. Early wins build momentum.
That seems to be the expectation, yeah. Success breeds success, helps create a culture where using AI isn't novel, it's just part of how things are done.
Okay, but there's one key difference highlighted between government and commercial AI adoption. Security.
That's non-negotiable for government. While a company might prioritize speed to market, the U.S. government has to ensure its systems are secure, protecting data, protecting operations.
So security is paramount, even with all the potential AI offers.
Absolutely. But Larry Allen was still very clear that even with those crucial security needs, the potential upside for using AI in government is, in his words, tremendous.
Okay, so let's just pull this together. GSA is basically learning AI by using it internally with tools like GSI,
Right, boosting their own efficiency.
while also figuring out how the whole government should buy AI, developing these subscription and token models.
Yep, shaping the market.
And they're navigating the tricky bits, like pricing in a new market
Mhm.
and always keeping security front and center.
That sums it up nicely. They're really trying to be proactive, positioning themselves as a guide for the rest of government on this AI journey.
This has been really useful getting a clearer picture of their strategy. You can see how complex it is, but also how potentially transformative.
Definitely. And it really leaves you, the listener, with something to think about, doesn't it? Well, given this double focus, using it themselves and setting the buying rules, how might GSA's approach actually influence how fast and maybe even how AI gets adopted across all federal agencies? What are the long-term effects on how government works and, how it deals with tech companies? Something to chew on.